This episode is sponsored in part by PTZ Optics. Why hire a camera operator when the control is in your hands? Visit ptzoptics.com for more information. And by NewTek, makers of the TriCaster TC1. Stun your viewers, not your accountant. Visit newtek.com for more information.
Hey guys, Happy New Year. It's time for another edition of Game Time for 2023. I've been saying that all day so I don't forget. And, you know, we were kind of hoping that we'd start the year off with a bang. We started off with a bang. Glenn has no audio. And he's sitting there.
I might have audio.
Oh, he's got audio! He loves, wait a second, he loves to do this to me. He plays games and then he's like, I don't have no audio. We're on the phone and miraculously.
Then I fix it.
He fixed it, and he doesn't sound like he's underwater.
No.
No.
That's good.
You
Glenn, are you
sound
serious
wonderful.
right now? Did you seriously actually do that? That was deliberate, wasn't it? Look at, he's got that shit-eating.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I do, but now I got my dance moves going on now. It's studio.
But you're not playing any
Okay.
music. Why aren't you playing any music?
Yeah, where's the dance music?
Oh no, you didn't play the music. At least play the music if you're gonna do that.
Be careful, you're gonna break a hip.
He's gonna break a hip. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, guys, it's great to have everybody here. We've got Wild Bill in his lair.
Happy New Year!
He's got the confetti and everything, and you don't even have to clean it up. And of course, the film producer that is known as Jayde Shelion. Siskel and Ebert, eat your heart out. What's going on, guys? It's been a long 2 weeks.
Yes, it has.
Bill,
Yeah, I thought I was fired.
you know, that was the funny part. Everybody kept sending me a message. They're like, "Are we still doing the show? Am I fired? Is it going on?" And part of it was because originally I was supposed to go to CES, but plans changed. The company, you know, obviously every company's cutting costs, right? So if you don't need to go, you're not going. So I didn't go, which I'm okay with because seeing some people that have been traveling having their flights canceled. That's everybody's afraid of something, right? Afraid of spiders. They're afraid of whatever it is. I'm afraid of being stuck in an airport with no means of transportation, no means to protect myself, and my family not being there. That is like my biggest fear in it. And I've already had a couple flights canceled, and like anxiety just starts building.
Do you ever have dreams about it? Like being stuck in an airport?
I do. It's just something that just I don't like it. So I'm not the person to go traveling with. I don't like to travel, like distances. So
Unless it's hunt.
I like to hunt. Yeah. I can hunt. But I you know, the traveling part I can do without. I'm just not a fan.
Okay, before we get like super deep into whatever we're talking about, can I just show everybody my shirt?
Yeah.
Cover me, Porkins.
That's right, Jack Porkins. Moment of silence for Jack.
Want to say hi to everybody here in the chat room. We've got Al, and he says, I got stuck in an airport my first time in this country for days. You, my friend, can have that. I want nothing to do with it. We got Jamie Loken in there. No reason to go to CES anymore with everything being talked about online. I don't miss it at all. We're going to get into that a little bit later. We've got Papa Brad's Gaming in the chat room. Paul Barnes, some person named Shelion Gaming, Matt Astra's Gaming. We've got some other guy named Glenn's Retro Show. I said, where do these people come from?
Hey, you got to advertise.
Bonafide Picker in the house. Biggie D's Arcade, what's going on? Adam Kalb, as always. Cetheus, Jason, Andy's Game Room. If I missed anybody, I apologize. Oh, there's Jennifer Wyatt just joining. If I missed anybody else, welcome. 2023. Guys.
2023.
Glenn, I think you said it in the chat room just a minute ago. CES, everybody's going crazy about CES.
Madness.
I've been to CES like 4 or 5 years in a row. And I am not a
I've
CES
been to a
fan.
Walmart on Black Friday. It's about the same, right?
Well, at least the products are available at Walmart. People have to learn that CES is kind of like a visionary trade show. Basically, sometimes things that in fact, I have gear that never even made it to production because that's how CES is. It's like this is it's a prototype show.
Mhm.
Everything you see there may or may not come to fruition.
Well,
right?
look at the NES. It was 85 when they were coming out with their AVS system. Had a keyboard, still had the light gun, but it looked like a little computer system. It was at CES, and then they reworked it into the little toaster that we know and love today.
It's a prototype.
Yeah. Do you guys remember, since we do, CES has a lot to do with tech, but do you guys remember the
Technology.
the gaming platform that tried to come out that was called OnLive? It was about this big, and you hooked it up to Ethernet, and it had what looked like an Xbox controller. I actually got one of them for review. It's somewhere it died 6 to 8 months after CES. Never made it to production. They gave me access to the games that were online. Nobody knew any of the games that were online. But
you got to be an ass to go to CES this time of year.
Oh boy.
Oh wow.
Glenn with the jokes today.
Donkey. It's donkey.
It's donkey. But I don't know. Did you guys ever see that or remember that, the OnLive system?
Yeah, that was like a precursor to like Stadia and Luna and what we have today with cloud gaming, wasn't it? It was like the first one that was supposed to be where you played the games on, everything online.
Oh.
It was
I
supposed
thought
to.
it was like
That's what that
the
one
same.
was.
I thought it was like the same era as like Sega TV or something.
See, that's just the thing. I think it was right around the time that online gameplay started becoming relevant, right? And they thought they were going to charge an exuberant amount. I think it was like $50 or $60 a month to play these games online, and it wasn't like.
But all that lag included for free?
Well, so that was the thing, right? They didn't have that perfected yet, and the other thing that they had with it was. They gave you the library of games that you've never even heard of, and most of the time they were from independent developers, right? So, who's going to? First of all, I'm going to use this word. I hate to use this word, but I know the community knows this word. The AAA titles that everybody seems to say. However you define that, you weren't going to find your
top tier
Pac-Mans.
dev titles.
You weren't going to find your Streets of Rage. You weren't going to find any of the games that you wanted to play. You found
a lot of Android games, though.
Streets of Age. They were like knockoff games, right? So
oh yeah, okay. So it's like Thailand games you would get in Thailand, basically.
Yeah.
Like you walk around on the streets of Thailand and you're like, oh my god, look, they have a Game Boy Advance, and then you like pick it up and it's like Banana Boy Advance, and you're like, what the?
Yeah.
There's like no place to put a cartridge in it.
Orion's Dream, excuse me. He said when they went belly up, he said Sony bought some of their assets. I did hear that, but I didn't know that for a fact. Thanks for bangers. Yes, the bangers. That's the other cliche word that everybody uses. The bangers.
That's what I thought you were gonna say, and I was like, that's so 2022.
Well, I didn't even want to say AAA titles, but I did anyways. But I just either way, CES is something. I have these what looks like tennis balls with elastic straps from the first iPad when it came out. This company, they were called iBalls, BALLZ, and it had the I for like the iPad. You put them on the corner of your iPad, so if you accidentally dropped it, it's just going to bounce, and it could possibly bounce back into your hand.
My soul hurts right now.
Seriously.
I'm telling you, this was it never made it to production. Like, I have probably one of the few only sets that are out there in the world. It's just ridiculous what comes out of CES. And, of course, we want to talk about ridiculous. Arcade 1UP made some announcements at CES, which I think is kind of funny. They wouldn't spend the money on a booth. Jade, you and I were talking about this. So they decided they would go incognito and get a hotel room.
When I saw that they opened a hotel room door and like that was set up was in the suite or whatever, I literally I literally almost choked on my spit because I was
but
like,
you know what?
Well,
At Games did that once, did they not?
At Games did do it too, and they took heat.
They were outside.
They took heat. They took heat for it, and that was when David McIntosh went from At Games back to Arcade 1UP. It was a big mess.
Well, here's why it's
Those were
funny
the
though,
days.
because they had said that they were. I mean, they were very adamant that they were not going to be like appearing at CES.
Well, they weren't. They weren't on the floor.
Which is
right.
true, right?
Mhm.
Which is true because they didn't have a booth at CES, but
Right.
they did have their own suite there that they were.
Well, and
you
the
know,
other
bringing
funny part
everyone up
is
to.
it's invite only, so they have to tell you
Right.
where the suite is in order to go to it. Which a lot of high profile with NAB. When I go to NAB for the broadcast convention in April, a lot of like new tech, they make the TriCaster
You know
switcher
why,
that I'm
though?
using.
You know
Well,
why,
they do it
right?
for their VIP purchasers, so they can get in and get the one-on-one back and forth
Mhm.
with the
But you
potential
know
This
why
is
else,
not out
right?
of the ordinary. A lot of companies do exactly what Arcade One Up is doing.
But
with
it's
it.
illegal if you're registered. You have to be registered for CES as a person that's going to display, or as a distributor, whatever. So they're just
Okay.
kind of going
I'm sure-
around it.
I'm sure they probably. I mean, they have to have something if they have like assets there.
They
like,
have
they have
nothing
to have
on the
some sort of-
floor. Nothing.
Well,
They don't
got
have
some
no
asshole,
booth.
right?
Well, technically,
Okay.
you're not supposed to do it. That's it's not a.
But-
I don't want to say it's.
But
not
you
illegal.
know
You're
how
supposed to.
it was like very hush hush though. So I feel like
Yes.
they did it because they didn't want
Illuminati.
like, people to show up with like their broken Marvel vs. Capcom 2 cabs. or
No,
online,
get outta
like,
here.
start
That's
bashing them
bull.
over everybody's head.
Are you
know?
shilling for them
Like
again?
a
Come on.
MVC2
Oh
riot?
crap! The reason they did it is to cut costs, and they had it there for.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's
For the
we
sa-
we know
for the-
Jade's kidding. So just
So
for the record,
raise
we
the
know
price
Jade's-
of the cabinets, spend less on CES. Makes sense.
for the same reason that Killer Instinct had garbage joysticks.
Yeah, well, so we can get into some of this stuff here, but I know a lot of you guys. I'm just going to come out and say it. I am very excited that they finally made the cabinets, at least 4 of them, to look and resemble about 90. Can I say 92%? Do you think that's being a little bit too optimistic?
They're pretty damn close.
Pretty accurate?
I mean,
Yeah.
MK2 is missing like the extensions
Okay.
where the coin door is. But I mean the other cabs are
Pretty accurate.
They're pretty close.
Pretty
I mean,
close,
yeah.
especially with the way that they're inlaying the screens now and everything.
So I want
Yeah.
them. I want them to replace those units that I have currently. But there's a but. I am not paying $600 for these cabinets. I am not going to pre-order them, and I'm not going to buy them when they first come out.
That one last.
Oh,
Not gonna,
hell
sure, not
no.
gonna
No, no,
pre-order?
no, no, no,
That's your New Year's
no.
resolution.
No.
New Year's resolution is you're not going to pre-order.
$199 is what I'll wait for them to come down to, or $299. $300 is the most I'll pay for it.
By
Well,
the
that's
way,
the thing. Okay, I'm sorry, Jay. Go ahead.
no, you go first. I'm good.
No, you go first.
Oh, boy.
Okay, fine. I'll go first. I was just gonna say, by the way, did you guys know that there's some Killer Instinct Pros back up?
Well,
That only lasted about like 30 seconds.
Can I
now.
say that I told you guys so? I told
No,
you.
It's still up right now.
I
Are they
know.
really?
I told you guys.
Huh.
There was no way they sold 500 that day. I sat there watching it. There's browser things that you can.
Well, no,
plugins
it was
that
over.
you
It
can-
was over a period of like 2 weeks, but
They
I
didn't do it.
didn't doubt
Well,
that they didn't
it's
sell
not
them all.
uncommon for them to take maybe 200, put them up, and let them get eaten up, and then do it again and again, versus have bots or whatever, all of them in one shot. So,
Yeah, because bots are gonna nail all of them in one
Well,
shot. That was a good one.
It was over like I mean, roughly, I'm approximating here, but it was like a 2 week period, right? But then
Yeah.
what about, I was also thinking like, well, did they set any of them aside for like marketing and stuff like that? But with that being said, I just thought it was strange that they pulled back like that because clearly they sent out a decent number of units, So I thought like, what really was the point of them pulling out of it and then, relisting more or whatever? So I'm curious if they did that to see how people's reaction was going to be to
it's
the way that they are.
marketing ploy.
Right, marketing thing. But what I'm really going to be pissed about is if they lower the price.
Oh, I'm sure they will because they won't sell them out.
Don't.
They'll drop
say
them down
that.
to $699 like they did the Golden
Oh
Tee
my
Pro.
God.
That's what they'll. I'm telling you, give it another week when they don't sell out. They'll change it on the website to say sold out for like a day, and then they'll bring it back. That's what they've been
Well, they
doing.
will, and you know what? And that's what gets me with about what I was going to say before. You go and buy these brand new cabinets like NFL Blitz for $600, and then a week or two later, or in Steve's case, a month later, whatever. They go down
Try
to
3 months later.
$189 is the cheapest I saw one going for. I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
I went out and bought one of
Yeah.
those, and they went down that price. Pissed.
Oh yeah.
But that's just the thing. So they say that they're being transparent with everybody. Like, hey, we're going to do this show and we're going to be transparent with everybody. And that's the issue that I have with this company right now. I want to state for the record, I buy these cabinets to enjoy with my family and friends because I'm trying to build a home arcade. I don't have a midlife crisis, despite what Rexer said last night. Anybody that has more than 20, apparently, sorry, Rexer, but I don't have a midlife crisis. It's something we enjoy. Okay, it's a hobby. I'm going in with the realization.
And you're a shill, Stephen.
Then I'm a shill, but I'm going into with
Either one of these.
I'm going in with the realization that these are not real cabinets. They are going to have issues. But speaking as an analyst, what we're doing right now, we're analyzing all this data. The transparency from this company, you can't trust them. You cannot trust them because they're telling you, you better hurry up and buy this. And then they say it's sold out, but it's really not sold out.
From a marketing perspective.
That's normal, like the marketing, but I can't fault them for that. Just wait though. The problem is we all want to get what we want to get, and you're always worried they're going to run out. But if any 50,000 versions of Pac-Man will tell you, Arcade One Up will make more.
It's FOMO. That's all it is.
But the Ki Pro, with that being said, is something that is unique and it's very. Well, it's different from anything else that they've done up to this point, and they only did 500. They are numbered, and they only did 500 of them, as far as we know. So I think that that's like one of the things that was like really trivial about it for me, was that I didn't want to like lose the opportunity to see what it really is and see if it was what they said it was, because what they said was, and you guys have heard this on multiple streams, is that it was something that was developed for the hardcores, right? Specifically for the hardcores.
But and you proved that it's not because of the joysticks and other factors.
Right. It was like they were almost there. Like they were almost there.
Sometimes I hear that in a date.
If they would have if they would have just done a couple things differently, it really, I can overlook some of the things about it. I really can. But there's just a couple things that, to me, made it an overall fail. And then, obviously, the price point. I mean, I'm talking like $799 max would be, you're pushing it. But, like, that's it. Like, no way any more than that.
So, MG in the chat room, I really have a feeling, and I really hope he is being sarcastic, because I believe he's being sarcastic, but he's like, you should always order your cabinets direct from A1 Up. He is, because John D said that. And I did get my Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on the 20th, not the 21st. I was supposed to get it on the 21st. I got it a day early from what?
Steven, they're in museums already. By the time you got yours, they've already been in museums.
I didn't even bother to do a review on it, because there's so many reviews out there by people who don't even own the cabinet, telling you how great it is. I've found so many guys doing reviews of Arcade 1-Up products that they don't even own them. They're showing videos of other people that have reviewed them and said, "Hey, see, this is why you need it, or this is why you should." I'm like, really? Stay away from reviewers like that.
That's very
All right, let's talk about this, because I'm getting all fired up with this because of the transparency stuff. Let's talk a little bit more of Arcade 1-Up and their announcement. I'm saying that with air quotes, at CES.
Arcade 1-Up. News and notes.
monitors, right? Or two
Yeah, so it's
screens.
got it's got 2 screens on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're both from the Counter Cades. They're touchscreen, so that justifies the $600 price point. They have 25 games.
Amazon Fire tablet for like $60 as a touch.
Well, that's what I was going to say. These are all Android-based games because they clearly took some form of Chinese, Japanese touchscreen that you can get dirt cheap and put them in there. That's why they're only 10-inch or whatever they're saying.
So they're not BOE.
They're not BOE. So my thing is, why did you make it so big? Why didn't you just make them like the size of a Partycade or a Countercade for those guys? Because I really believe, and I'm going to stand by saying
mom
this.
and grandmom.
The Partycades look like they're going to have bigger screens than that.
Grandmas are not going to put an arcade 3/4 scale slot machine with
so
no
when
handle
they come over to visit,
in their
when they
house.
come over to visit, you put them in the corner with a bucket of change, and now you're making money.
No.
She's not going to know the difference. You just got to put the coins in.
I get it. There's 25 games on it. It's a touchscreen tablet, and if it's cheap, it's not going to be really interactive. And I don't want people. Anyways, there's no handle on it. A lot of people were like, "Why didn't you put a handle on it?" But that'll be Gen 2. Then you'll pay $600 or $700 for that. I don't know. I
will say they're at least dabbling and seeing what sticks. You try a product, you'll never know until you put a product out and see how it goes. It's an interesting idea. I think some people will probably enjoy it. I also think it's overpriced. Like I thought that their gaming table was way overpriced, the large Android tablet that it was. But at least they're trying. I will always give companies that they're trying. They come up with an idea, so let's throw it out there and see if it does well. If it does well, they'll improve it, make more. If it doesn't, it'll end up like the baby cage. How's that holding up? I remember Nostalgia quoting how that was going to be the next big thing.
So here you can see.
I think Steven has a picture of you from the other day.
Yeah, here you can see. This is from their undisclosed location. I believe this is CNET. They went in there, and you can kind of see.
Video. Is that some gold trim?
It is. P-Dub sent this to me earlier today, and he said, "Here, play this on your show tonight." And it's got this bezel that lights up. Ooh.
Does it come with the mask?
It doesn't come with the mask, but apparently he thinks he's going to get something from this.
I'll get a mask. There we go.
So it looks.
Does it come with COVID?
Apparently, but it's a little narrower than it almost.
Batman.
It almost looks like it's probably a little bit thinner than the T2. I get it. If you are a slots machine junkie, I get it. You want to buy this, but that audience isn't going to buy a 3/4 scale. They're going to want something like a Countercade, especially with that screen. Why not put it in a Countercade?
You know what? I think it's actually probably gonna do well.
I doubt it. I'm going to stand by that. Just like I said, the baby Cade wasn't going to sell.
Everybody
told me I was wrong.
The market for these type of games are definitely older folks.
It
not
is.
going to be the younger folks for sure.
Yeah.
But again, it's the price point, and I think at the price point, the older folks that would think it's cool are not going to go. I'm not going to spend that kind of money on it. But it ends up on QVC at one of their fake discounts with 20 payments of whatever.
Yeah.
They may do better, but it's not going to be for us. It's really not.
See, I like that.
Who watch game shows, who like the Wheel of Fortune, who watch those shows, they may go for it.
They're marketing to a different audience with that, and I think that it's going to be successful. I mean, how successful, I don't know, but I think that they're going to succeed with what they're trying to do. Do I think that price point is going to stick? Absolutely not. But I still think that they're going. If anything, it's a marketing test. Because it's a one of a kind, So
it is, and there's 26 games on it.
Have you seen the Home Shopping Network ever try and sell an arcade 1-up cabinet? Because I have.
Yeah, it's a joke.
It's like
this is another joke. 18-inch touchscreen Android tablet. They want 500 bones for this.
No way.
500. Go buy an iPad and thank me later.
Go buy a friggin' Fire tablet for like $100. That's running Android. That's not running iOS. No way.
Well, if you want,
probably at about the same speed.
If you want it to work, go buy an iOS device.
That OS looks like pretty chop.
The
$500
have always
for this.
Been underpowered.
So
they're always sluggish.
I thought they had something with the 32-inch screen because you can't just go buy a tablet that's 32-inch. Or
No, but you could buy a 32-inch TV set and put a Fire Stick on it.
100%.
Cool Toy was doing that a long time ago, and
but it's not
great
touchscreen.
experience with that.
It's not.
You can get them.
You can.
You can
yeah,
get them.
you can
and
get
I bet
them.
you get it. I bet you get a touchscreen 32-inch cheaper than that machine would have been.
So my
Is
question
that for people in their 30s?
Well, that's my question. So
Oh boy.
who is their target audience that's going to buy a 18-inch screen, okay, for $500? Like, they must love the $500 price point. Like, I'm seriously like confused by all this. Am I wrong?
I think that.
No, I think it's high priced for what it is. It's
Yeah,
interesting, but I think it's high priced.
Yeah, it's way too high priced. I mean, like 300 would even be pushing it. I think like a 250 to 200 price point is probably more reasonable. Half of what basically they're trying to sell it for.
Well,
it's
the only thing I will say, and I haven't looked at them close enough to price them out. There's like a little over 100 games, I think, available for the Infinity system.
Yeah.
This comes with 50 games built in that just come with it, so you don't have to pay extra for them. I don't know what that works out to. It probably doesn't make up the difference, but it is something to consider that at least half the games that they have available for the Infinity system actually come with this.
I don't know. I don't like the little nubs on the bottom.
How much was the Infinity table on
1,000.
sale?
The 32 inch is about 900.
No, it was on sale
24 inch
recently for something.
It was on sale for $679. I saw it for 32.
Normally it's 900.
It's about 900
24
with tax.
Is
about
what,
1,000.
6 or is about 7. I think the 24 is like $699.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, at the end of the day, like the arcade one-up algorithm has been to, put out cabinets, push them out, and you have a time frame of 3, 6, and about 9 months. And worst case scenario with legacy cabs so far, it's been like 12 months, and they start, just pushing them out like they're trying to get their 18-year-old kids out of their house. So no matter how you look at it, like eventually all these things are going to go on sale. There's a big difference between when Arcade One Up started and they were doing like limited runs of things, i.e. Star Wars, Outrun, and all these other like unique cabs that they did, to where now they're like mass producing these cabs and, people are stocking up on them. So then you have all these vendors that are just trying to offload this stuff because they've got more crap incoming. So, but I think that they definitely need to work on their price point on all of these things. I mean, the Casino Cade, what is it, 600, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, even there, I think that's really, really pushing it. I mean, I think 500 maybe, and on the new ones that they have with the deluxes, I mean, first of all, I don't know all the technical details of them, and I do think that their aesthetic is 1,000 times better, and it's like they're finally starting to make them look, the way that people have been wanting them to look and stuff like that. But again, part of the issue is that I think people forget about is that these are not just appealing to the in crowd that we have on YouTube and the niche. Like, they're also trying to get these out into the public, and random people do buy them. Normies do buy them all the time.
But that's where you're missing the point. Normies are not going to pay $600 to have a casino in their house when they can download that app on their Android phone or tablet that they already own.
But if you're 70 or 80 years old and you look at
Never
your phone
happen.
and it makes your eyes go cross,
Never happen. They're not going to do it.
They're going to have to first of all see it on QVC. It's not going to be when they initially sell it.
In California and
You're
Vegas,
wrong.
In California,
Wrong.
gambling is legal in certain places on reservations out here. And then in Vegas, you have, all the gambling out there. You know who lives in all those places? A lot of retired folk. And I'm telling you right now, what would be better than having to go to the casino, but having a gambling machine in my house?
Yes,
well,
but you
Richard,
can't
I
win
think we
money.
need to go get one.
Yes, but you
But they
can't
can
win money
practice.
with it.
You can't.
Okay.
You can't win money with it. You can't.
Practice.
Nobody. Here's the thing. What's the first thing? And I can tell you right now because my mother-in-law's already started to do this. What's the first thing people do when they get older if they lose a spouse? Besides Glenn. Glenn's not old. But I'm talking anybody that's like in their 70s, late 60s, early 70s. What's the first thing that they do? They start
If
to
it's
declutter.
a woman, they buy a bunch of cats. If it's a guy, he just walks around in his underwear all day.
They start to declutter their house. They start giving their kids stuff that when the time comes, they're not fighting over it. They start going minimalist. They don't want this stuff.
Or they just buy like
that.
random junk for no reason. Have you ever seen hoarders?
I am going to go on record and say this is going to be the biggest flop next to the Baby Cade, and you guys can go on record as saying that you think they'll sell, and that's
we
fine.
have to wait and see what Nostalgia says. If Nostalgia says
He
it's
was the
gonna
one
be a
that
hit,
said the
then
Baby Cade was going to be.
That's what I'm saying. So if he says these are going to be a hit, well, no, they're going to go down the tank.
This is going
Switch
to
Nostalgia.
this is going to tank because they don't. You can't tell me. Yeah, the old people like playing it, but you can't tell me 70, 80, and 90-year-old people are going to buy this. I'm not going to buy it.
Ultimately,
No.
I'll tell you right now, it comes down to the price point. It is way overpriced. If the
Agreed.
price is lower, people our age probably will buy it just because it looks cool. I think the lights look on, they look really nice. You walk into a room, you see the lights going around.
Yeah.
It's neat.
If you
It's
have the
not
room,
cheap.
About
Yeah.
how many
$100
people
it is a
buy
neat
how many
looking-
people buy arcade one-ups just because they look cool, because they
Right.
look like a cool
every
piece to have in your
YouTuber
room.
out there doing arcade one-up content, the only thing they do is put them behind them. They don't play them. P-Dub said it best. They're too busy doing videos. They don't play it.
Right.
Jayde doesn't even play half of the games that she has. You never see her live streaming gameplay. Listen, there's a guy on YouTube that calls out every YouTuber and says, you guys buy all these games and all you do is put them behind you and you don't play them. I got news for you. There's a reason I don't do a lot of videos. You know why? Because I'm playing the games and I'm playing the arcades. You can tell the people who don't play the arcades. I mean, ask P-Dubs. He puts his NBA Jam in the garage. I think it's his workbench now. Which on that one though, I will say I'll stand up for P-Dubs on that because that's out of all the arcades, that's probably the best one to use for a workbench. But in all seriousness though, I agree with you,
The
Glenn.
Pong pub table.
If you've got the room,
Hey.
yeah, that.
You say anything bad about Pong, Bill? Don't even
Actually,
start with Pong.
But look, it's
look,
gold.
I
it's
absolutely
got
love
gold
my
trim.
Pong pub table. So.
It's got gold trim, yeah. It's got gold trim, and you're gonna have
It's
the.
got Vanna White.
Listen, we know Michael B's gonna buy it, and it's gonna sit in his arcade, and it's gonna look nice because he's trying to collect everyone. I get it. There's those guys. I get it. I do.
I really want to see the Home Shopping Network do a presentation of it, because like you really should have seen the way that they caressed that Street Fighter II Legacy cab. I mean, it was the guy's like doesn't even know what he's talking about, and he's like, "Oh, let me just show you guys."
Wait a second. Let me stop.
Beautiful.
You can go back to that thought. I got to stop Papa Brad in here. He's going on his he's shilling iArcade. iArcade is just as dead as this product that they just put out. Okay, iArcade. If they don't get their act together, you won't hear nothing about them later this summer. Okay, I'm just being honest. Everything they've been putting out is trash. The machines are not where they should be. I feel like. Don't even get me started on that. If any machine's going in my game room, 2023, it's the iArcade. Period. Jayde already got rid of hers. Bill be next.
Too. It was so nice.
They're trash.
It was.
I love Jong,
I know.
but he's got to step it up.
But the reason
I
why
like
the
mine.
reason why was
I
because
agree,
I got
but
an
I like
ALU. I got an ALU, and I feel like there's no reason for me to have one, especially when the only real thing you get from it is the specific iArcade leaderboards, you know. And I had talked about all the games being available on other platforms like Steam and Switch and stuff like that. I mean, but
I was
they're
just gonna say,
basically
ask
available.
Zohar. They're all on Switch.
Yeah, but I mean, it's true though that all the games that they have are on different platforms and stuff. So I just didn't see a point.
Tell
in
me
having it since
something.
I got an ALU.
Yeah, but hold on. But be honest. You could say the same thing about Act games. You could say the same thing about Arcade One Up. There's a million ways to play every single one of these games.
But the thing
Every
with
single
Act
one.
games is
No,
they're not
but here-
locked down.
Here's my argument.
That's the difference.
The ALU has CoinOps X, and then you also have this control panel that gives you the option to use your spinner, trackball, what is it, 6-8 button layout. And so you have everything right in front of you, and you have a really nice monitor. Whereas the iArcade has a monitor that gets, washout if you're standing at certain angles or playing certain games, and you don't have spinners on there or a trackball. So I'm just saying you get more with the ALU by far, aside from the leaderboard aspect of it, than you'll ever get with an iArcade. I mean, I think that the iArcade is a nice, thing. It's a nice build quality. It looks nice. I hate the monitor, but the joysticks and buttons are great, and what it offers is cool. But for me personally, in my collection, I just didn't see a point in having it anymore, and that's why I got rid of it. And so,
Well,
Steven,
you had it the least amount of time.
We've talked about it before, though, and you've basically said the same thing.
That's where I'm at with it too. In fact, we'll get into this here in just a little bit here.
We haven't gotten into it yet. We're gonna get into it
No,
now.
we'll get into it. But I
Oh,
actually okay. So Glenn, back in the day, you, me, and a few other YouTubers, we got the At Games Legend for free. We got it for review. I'm just going to go on record. I still have the version 1 that has Marble Madness.
Yep.
But with the blowout sale, thank you for the subscription. 17 months, ZGSP. I think that's however that comes across. Thank you. I went out and I just bought the version 1.2 from Sam's. I want to show this for the record. Okay. $349.
$350?
At $350, I got it brand new.
Wait, free shipping?
Free shipping.
Steven buys those at a discount.
Oh,
It's every
wow.
time.
Free shipping, and I also purchased the 4-player joystick because I want to do a review on it because I want to see what it's like and compare it against the 4-player setup that Arcade 1-Up has to see if you can get 4 grown men. I'm going to say men because most ladies are smaller. Grown men around this to play 4-player, NFL Blitz with late hits on the At Games Legends. So I want to do that, and I have this. It should be here by Friday. And then I'm going to take my Marble Madness one. I'm probably going to donate it to the church for the kids since they have 2 Arcade 1-Ups, but then they can play some of the games that they don't have. I didn't need it, but for $349, I couldn't pass it up. Like most of you guys out there who have jumped. But I want to show, I am going to do a video, and I know some of you guys have asked me already. They said, "Hey, can you do a tutorial, like a tutorial as you're building it and just give us your take because it's different than the other build." So I might do something like that. But for the record, I paid for this. Okay, because I know there's a lot of people out there that aren't disclosing that stuff.
And overall, the act, like Jay was saying, she's right. The Legends Ultimate right now is the most universal use machine. And there's a couple of things I couldn't stand at it with some of the firmware updates when you had to log in every 5 minutes, to go into other things. But I think they've taken that away. I haven't used mine in a while, to be quite honest. But out of all the machines there, it has a large screen. The speakers are pretty good. You can put HDMI in, so you can put your own computer on it. So for those kind of prices, it's a steal. It's a good unit.
That's what I thought.
The controls are decent.
Oh, yeah.
The controls are decent, and there's a good community behind it. The CoinOps team has a build specifically for it. So it's a lot of good things you could do with the Legends Ultimate.
Yeah.
MG, dude, I'm not mad. I am seriously not mad. I'm not angry. No, seriously, we're just having to discuss because Jayde said it best in her show. If you didn't watch it today, her documentary that she's doing, the series that she's putting together, go watch it.
Yep.
After the show, go watch it. The editing was phenomenal, and that's coming from somebody that does video. But she said at the end, I want you to pay very close attention to what she says at the end. She's like, we're supposed to be having fun, right? And Arcade 1-Up made the best tweet. I think it was last week or the week before, where they said a bunch of 30-year-olds playing these, which a lot of guys were like, you mean 40? And all I see is like 40, 50, 60, and even, dare I say, 70-year-olds acting like children. Like, guys, play this for what it is. Play it because you love the games, man. New Year's Eve, my arcade was rocking. We played some Fortnite. You saw the pictures. We had a lot of people in here. Not one person complained that it was emulated. Not one person complained that it has a giraffe neck.
99% of the population has no idea.
No. Nobody cared that. Sorry, Jayde. They love beach buggy racing. Nobody cared that there was an iArcade and not an Arcade 1-Up. To them, it was just arcades. And you know what? They sat there on the pinball, and they were playing Grinch on At Games, and everybody was trying to beat my high score. They tried to beat my high score on Star Wars. Those pinball machines, the 3, the one that everybody complains about.
High score.
High score. Everybody complains about, the lag, the latency. Those machines, all 3 of them, equally played the whole night. There wasn't one time that somebody wasn't at those machines. They were played more than even the arcades.
I think that like the hardcores get really, and I mean myself included, like get very sucked into like the the technical aspect of what we're getting at what price point we're getting it at, and I think that that's fair. I think that it's important to assess that, especially for the hardcores, But at the end of the day, like, if you really care that much, you should probably just get the real thing. If you care that much, you know what I mean? With that being said, I also think it's important to show people, like, technically and truthfully what they're getting at whatever price it is. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now, and where I've gotten to is that Arcade 1-Up is not, they're not trying to offer some picture perfect product that is a perfect replica of the original hardware. They just can't do it. They're never going to pull it off. But their products have come a long way from where they started.
Bono's Tecmo, he says we would buy a toaster if we had a killer gameplay on it.
Yeah.
I'm sure somewhere out there's a toaster that can play Doom.
Yeah.
Actually,
Probably.
the Angry Video Game Nerd got the NES toaster.
Yeah.
So he already has it.
So our poll, just for the record, is in the chat room. 50-50. It was going back and forth between 51-48, but I think some guys balanced it out,
Well,
which
the
is fine.
50s, the 50s have it.
The 50s,
right, yeah,
they
50s
say,
have
I said, will the
50s.
Casino Cade flop? And it's 50-50. Before it was 51 yes, 48 no. So the consensus is, I think people are saying, like you're saying, Glenn, like they got to see it, maybe play it a little bit. I think for the guys that are collecting it, they're going to buy it, and they may keep it afloat. But the targeted audience is not going to buy this. That's my prediction, and you guys can hold me to it, and I'll eat crow if I'm wrong.
No, I agree with you on it. I think they'll sell some. Some people will buy it. But the target audience, which is people like us, that's not our thing.
Well,
That's not our thing.
Jayde,
And people younger than us, sure, they can buy them.
Glenn, wait, can you go back to Glenn on full screen? Glenn, can you point at your camera and say, you got to get out there and make it happen for yourself?
You got to go out there and make it yourself.
Wait a second. Jayde, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go full screen to you in a second. I'm going to tell you why they're going to flop the Casino Cades, and you're going to actually agree with me when I state this. Okay, you ready? They're going to flop because there's no anti-fatigue mat. I know. See, I know what button to push. You see? There it is.
Oh, man, you got me.
I got her on that one. Listen, guys, we're going to take a break. We're going to talk more about this. But first, it's time for our favorite segment, Make or Break. What are we going to talk about this week?
Make or break.
New year, and we are back with some more Make or Break. Today's Make or Break is the Sony PS Vita. Now, in my opinion, this is one of the best handhelds for its time. But did Sony break the PS Vita due to marketing and lack of good games for the system? To this day, it's still one of my favorite handhelds to play. But what do you think? Was it ahead of its curve? Was it ahead of its time? Did it have functionality that most of us enjoy? Not counting its mod capabilities. Did Sony make or break the PS Vita?
to those two women, I was not the father.
So, PS Vita, before we get into the thoughts of this, we have a super chat Jade's going to read for us here.
All right, super chat from Goro the Goldie. Hi, Steven. Thank you for your honesty about iArcade. Can I use that segment for my video? Love the soundbite. iArcade is trash. I agree with you.
So, I don't care if you use a soundbite, but let me explain myself when I say that. Okay? There's not one compelling game beside Retromania on that arcade that makes me want to keep it. And I already have it on the Switch. I just feel like some of the components over time are trash. I just feel like I could show you, if you go back and look at my YouTube stories, I show that the casters that are on the bottom basically broke through the particle board floor. So it's not even sitting on those adjustable casters anymore because it's trash. Now, I don't know if the Gold Series is any better for the $700-800 exuberant price point that those are, when all they did was change the hood on it. I'm sorry, but I love Zhang. I think he's a great guy, one of the best CEOs of any of the home arcade companies out here.
Well, I think
just
honestly,
not happy with it.
The big thing is when they touted it, when they originally were showing at CES, they were always touting two things: sound, which does have the best sound out there, no question. But the other was it was powerful. It was supposed to be able to run more advanced games, but the majority of the games we've been getting so far have not been catering to that advantage. You know, they have games on there, but nothing that really pushes the performance of the machine. And that was their advantage. And they still haven't hit it yet, but they've been touting a lot of promises this year. So we'll find out in 2023 if they're going to meet those goals of, as we all know, doesn't matter how powerful the hardware is, you got to software to run it.
Here's this is the real question, Glenn. Will it be crispy?
I can't answer that.
Listen, I'm going to call it how I see it. Let's go back to, guys, make or break. PS Vita, it's still one of my favorite consoles. In fact, I know I'm probably going to get shot for it, but honestly, like, I still think it's great. I think that I think Sony killed this thing. I have it here. In fact, I just wanted to show real quick while you guys talk about this. I actually have mine set up now. I have to do an update to it, but I have Vita Shell built into this, put on here with RetroArch. So I literally have, like,
I really need to get that.
My TurboGrafx. I have my TurboGrafx 16 library on here, and so like right now it's going to throw an error because I have to update it and reload the chip that's inside of it. But I was playing Bonk's Adventure on here, and I was playing all the TurboGrafx 16 on this little slim Vita Plus,
which Cool Toy admitted was the better console.
Oh yes, I mean this is great running on PS. You know, all the Vita games built in, the PSP games that I have on here, all the Star Wars PSP games. This is still next to the next gen consoles like Switch and Steam Deck. This is still my go-to. Like, I love this. It was like, it's kind of like the Dreamcast. It was before its time, and Sony killed it. That's my opinion. What do you guys think? Did Sony kill this?
Yeah. I think Sony killed it. And then also you had, like, it was a weird time though when it came out, because it was a transition from the PSP, and there was a lot of really good things about it. And plus you had the screen mirroring, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I could play my PS4 on it. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And PS3. You had the PS3. It was called something else, but anyways, they were really cool features at the time. But then shortly after, you start having the availability of these console apps, and you're able to screen mirror to like your phone with like a backbone or something similar to that before that backbone era. Regardless, I think that Sony just kind of like gave up on it, is what I feel like. They just kind of slowly moved away from it and were like, all right. I mean, is the store still open? Because I know they were talking about closing it down, and then they extended it. But yeah, their support for it, I think, is what broke it, in my opinion.
Well, let's see if we can connect to the store. You must update your system software. I'm not updating my system software, because if I do, RetroArch will not work.
That's why I have two of them. But you know what? There's a couple
I got
games
two of them. That's
that
why
you
I got two
can't
of them.
get. There's a couple games that you can't even get from the store anymore, and then like some of the limited run games like Futuridium and then Marvel vs. Capcom 3, you have to have hard copies of. Oh, what is it? T2K? I don't know,
T2K.
but the Tempest game, like I was so happy I bought that because they took it off of the store because of all this weird stuff that happened with Jeff Minter. So it's got a lot of really cool things that you can't get on another, handheld console. Not to mention it can do all the emulation stuff. So
Wow, Bill, make or break.
I agree. I think Sony killed it. I think the problem was that any company that had a handheld out just threw their hands up and said, we can't compete with Nintendo, we can't compete with the DS, with the 3DS, all those things that came out. Nintendo just owned the handheld market.
Yep.
Until they decided to kill it and just have the Switch as a hybrid. But Vita, powerful system, probably the most powerful handheld until you got into things like Switch and Steam Deck and whatever.
But remember, it was against the 3DS.
Right.
Plus price point, though. You have to think about the price point between the two handhelds. And at the time, when there was more of a handheld market, people were going for whichever one was cheaper, and Nintendo was more kid-friendly.
Right.
So the Vita became something more, in my opinion, for like the hardcores who'd kind of grown up with handheld consoles.
And the Vita had the same problem, I think, that the PSP did, right? Where it was you had to use Sony's memory sticks.
Yes, there is,
and they were ridiculously expensive.
Yeah, somebody was saying that in the chat room. I think it was Jeff Whitson. He says, I say I was like the $100 memory stick.
Yeah, so that did not do them any good. If they had just gone with like standard SD or the PC cards, whatever was the main one at the time, they would have been much better off.
And I just real quick want to throw this in there. As a fighting game fan, the Vita was like hands down the best. I mean, you had Street Fighter Alpha 3 Double Upper or 03 Double Upper. You had Vampire Savior. You had the Street Fighter collection. I mean, all the best basically Capcom games, like not even just fighting, but a ton of other ones were in collections on the Vita, and that was another reason that I absolutely was in love with that console, because there was nowhere else where you could play an arcade accurate version of like the Street Fighter games and stuff.
No, because they had to be scaled down to be on things like the 3DS.
Yep.
Right.
So MG has a great comment in here, and he says, yeah, and soon you can get an 18-inch Android handheld from Arcade 1UP for $5.99, and he ain't lying. I just think that I know Biggie's arcade in there. He says, personally, I like to play it on my Switch, but to have something this slim and one piece that you can throw in your pocket, you can play Glen's favorite system and my favorite system, the TurboGrafx 16. Play those games, the complete library. You throw it in your cargo pants or your cargo shorts. Yes, I still wear cargo shorts. And take it on the go. It's just great. But I know, Glenn, you probably didn't have this. I think you probably stopped with the handhelds probably around the PSP or the 3DS. Did you?
Actually, I only had the Lynx, the Game Gear.
Oh wow, you stopped before.
I got my son the 3DS, which of course he never played. So technically, I have a 3DS and so forth. But I do know I don't want to say for a fact, but I do know just from the time that Sony themselves did kill the Vita, and it was, I'm going to agree with what Bill said, it was just they couldn't compete or felt they couldn't compete with Nintendo. Nintendo dominated the handheld market. And for those type of games, usually when you're playing those type of games, they're kind of quicker games, fun games like a Zelda. When you're playing the Vita, they're more serious games, games you got to concentrate. If you're on a bus or running around the city with your machine, the 3DS was a little bit better to do it. But again, the Vita had much better hardware, but it's not about always the better hardware. It had a beautiful screen, had a great processor on it. It feels good in your hands, good battery life. Mm-hmm. But Nintendo just had that stranglehold, and they gave up.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that everybody has their own opinion. I still like the console, but Bill, why don't you tell us a little bit about the retro gaming spotlight for this week, and we'll share that with everybody.
All right, so this is one I actually did a couple of weeks ago, but we didn't have a chance to get to it. And look, this is just an opportunity to basically shine a spotlight on a game that I used to love from back in the original Nintendo era. And I think it may have a bit of more of a cult following now, but when it came out, it was overshadowed by a lot of other more high-profile games. See if you guys agree.
Retro Gaming Spotlight.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another edition of Retro Gaming Spotlight. On this episode, I wanted to shine a light on an old NES favorite of mine. Maybe this is something that you guys played back in the day. Maybe this is something that you kind of skipped over. The cool thing about this particular game is it is actually playable right now on the Switch through the Nintendo Online service. And the game I'm talking about is Blaster Master. All right, here we go. So this is Blaster Master, released for the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1988. And this was an old favorite of mine. I loved playing this game back in the day. And one of the things I loved about this game was how it kind of transcended a lot of other games and did things that others didn't at the time. Where at the time you had things like Mario, side-scrolling platforms, you had RPGs like Zelda. Here you had a game that kind of went beyond that into different genres. You had your platforming and side-scrolling when you were exploring in your little ship here. And then, of course, there were areas where you would get out of your ship and you would explore on foot and go into these little mini dungeons, and it would become a top-down, more of an action-adventure type game. And one of the things that was great about this is there were certain RPG elements to it too, where you could get different weapons to increase your firepower for your ship and for your character, and it was just such a fantastic, fun game. Now, this is also back in the day where these games were just super tough. I mean, there was no hand-holding when it came to these games, kind of not like today's games. You didn't get on-screen maps. You didn't really know where and you were supposed to go next. It was all just about exploring and finding your way throughout the game. And then, of course, there were these areas where, as you explored, you would come across different creatures and have these boss battles where you would fight these different characters. Now, again, one of the things, if I remember correctly about this game, is there was no save to this game. If you wanted to beat this game, you were going to sit down and you were going to play through it until you beat the game. Luckily, now with things like Nintendo Switch Online, you have save states, so you can play for a little while, save your progress, and then come back to it later. But man, were these games tough back in the day. But like I said, I just wanted to shine a spotlight on an old favorite, and one of the things I loved about it was how it added in the elements of different gameplay as you went, so it never felt like you were playing the same type of game over and over again. Whether it was the platforming section or whether it was these overhead sessions, it all just felt like a lot of fun and an incredible challenge. So there you have it. That is this week's Spotlight. It is Blaster Master for the NES. If you haven't tried it, if you own a Switch and you haven't tried it, go ahead and check it out. If you have played it before, let us know your thoughts on this game in the comments, all right? That's it for this one, and more game time. All right, so I was looking at some of the chat while this was going on, and it seems like a lot of people really fondly remember this game, and it's definitely one that I remember fondly and enjoyed playing when it originally came out. Like I said, I think it didn't get a lot of love when it first came out because there were so many other more high-profile games, Mario, Zelda, and whatever, but for what this game provided, being the fact that it was kind of a mashup of genres, I always thought it was just a great game, and I wanted to give it a little love.
And it's right up Glen's alley. You can see the pixels. Yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit here. Well, it looks like we got a
super chat
from Zohar. I'm sorry. Goldie the Goldie, or Goro the Goldie. Zohar, you got to come up with some better names because you kind of give yourself away with the Mortal Kombat references, but listen, I appreciate it. You know, like we tell people all the time on here, like, not that we don't appreciate the super chats, but don't feel like in order to have your chat heard,
you know
don't have to
what?
give money.
First of all, let's just get something straight here. Zohar has vowed not to do any console fanboy has vowed not to do any super chats for 2023. So I it's great. I'm glad that we have somebody contributing to the channel. So thanks, Coro.
But go ahead, Jade, if you can read that, that'd be awesome.
Okay. Just wanted to pay $10 to say that 174 174 of the iArcade games in their library can also be found on the Nintendo Switch. I counted. Thank you. God bless Steven, and God bless his channel. CFB rules.
Awesome. Well,
oh my god.
Well, we know he has a 50 million accounts. So, again, yeah, Console Boy Rules gave it away. MG said, but listen, don't anybody feel like you're obligated that you got to give money to get. I try to stay up with the chat. It's just that producing and switching, sometimes I miss it. So don't be offended. But we're gonna try to get to that. Let's talk about these deluxe versions. Jade, you brought up. I seriously am interested. If they're $500 and they can drop them to 300, or we can find like a fire sale for like $350. I would pay $350 or even $399 for them, as long as I could sell my other ones. Because if I could sell my other ones,
$399 for a deluxe cabinet. It's deluxe.
Well, if I could sell my other cabinet for $150, I could get it down to that price. So I'm not going to pay like $70, $100 like some of these guys are paying for these other. It's not worth that. I'm just not going to do it. But I like the way it looks. The way it looks, the right way.
Yeah. Well, one thing I was going to say is like I feel like they're really taking a step in the right direct. Like they're really in the right direction with the aesthetic and taking away risers, because a lot of people have complained about that in the past, and going for the actual aesthetic of the cab, the actual design. So I think that that's a great thing. The coin door, the coin door, the inlay of the screen, and just the fact that it kind of mirrors the full size machine, lit marquee, obviously, and all that, I think are really, I think it's great. But the other thing is too, is that now, for us as collectors or as gamers or whatever, a lot of people have been collecting these things for so long that they're probably like, I'm over this shit. Like this is the fourth, fifth iteration, and they want to charge $500 again. So I think it's really going to be appealing to like the hardcores who like want the newest thing, and like people who are just seeing them. So for that price point,
I just put out a poll in the chat room. So if you guys would be kind to put it in there, I said, would you like A1UP to release the original roster as deluxe, the original 5 that came out, which was the Rampage, the Final Fight, Pac-Man, Galaga, and I want to say, if Glenn was here, I think it was the Asteroid cabinet.
What? Well, think about this, because their whole marketing aspect of this too is like the molds that they have, right? So if they have molds for specific cab types, for example, Mortal Kombat is molded after the Midway style, right? Minus the detail of the extra panel extension for the coin door, or for the kick plate, excuse me. But the rest of it, I mean, overall, it looks like a Midway cab pretty much. And then you have the Namco cabs, which use the same mold, right, with the inlaid screen. So I mean, they could apply those to easily to a couple different cabinets, and go with that, go in that direction. I think that one of the things that I'm curious about, I don't know if you guys know, but it just says that it's a sharp or crisp LCD 17-inch monitor, but they didn't mention IPS, and I feel like in the past, or the recent past, that they have actually started to put IPS, 17-inch screen or whatever. So that also makes me curious, at that price point, are they not including an IPS monitor?
So
I'm gonna hazard a guess that they are. You know, the last couple of cabs they came out with in those legacy, the Ms. Pac-Man, the Yoga Flame, they were at the same price as the other legacies, and they had the BOE monitors in it. So that was, you know, if it was a cost saving thing, it was bullshit because they were the same price. You know, John D did say that they didn't want to use those TN monitors again. So hopefully, hopefully that's what they mean by crisp. You know, that the problem is the wording. Calling it crisp, you know, makes you wonder what do they really mean by that.
Can I throw a conspiracy out there? So, CES stands for Consumer Electronics Show. Like I said, it's all about innovation. A lot of times you'll go there, you'll see 8K, 12K TVs, you'll see curved monitors, the 3D displays, the curved 3D displays. You'll see stuff, like I said earlier, that you'll never see come out. And I really believe that part of their agenda of being at CES is looking for a new monitor company to make the quality better, but keep the price lower. I really believe that they're shopping around.
Stephen, for the cost difference between an IPS 17-inch monitor and it's a standard LCD, it is not significant.
Oh, I know that.
Especially at wholesale value. I mean, you're talking literally like $5 to $10, maybe. I mean, I feel like
but you're
that's
also
being
talking
generous.
$5 to $10 that's cutting into their profit margins.
But when you think about what people have said, in the past,
they don't care.
Okay, they don't get it. They don't care. But people in general, like, just go to Walmart and look at any of the cabs that have shit monitors.
Yeah.
People complain about it. That's all you see in the reviews. I mean, it literally will take the reviews down like 3 stars just because of those stupid monitors. So by now you would think they would have learned their lesson. But regardless, my point still stands, and this is a generous number, $5 to $10 between the price difference. So I still don't see like how they could justify not using an IPS monitor, whether it's BOE or a different brand. It doesn't really matter. But just using an IPS monitor, because the cost difference is so negligible and their customer response to it is going to be way more positive.
So I just ended the poll. 63% say yes, they would like them to release the original 5 that came out as deluxe cabinets, and now, 36% said no.
Do they care whether or not it's in the original mold of those cabs?
Well, that's what we want. We want it as the original, the way they were in the arcade. That's right. The whole point of the deluxe.
Right. That's why I was mentioning that earlier, is because what they have right now is what we've seen is they have a mold for the Midway style and they have a mold for the Namco Bandai style, right? Or Namco, or what was the other one that they were in? Midway, right? So if those are the 2 molds that they have for this generation right now, there's no frickin' way that they're going to re-release those cabinets in their form factor, or in their correct form factor, because they're going to have to produce new molds for
That's
them.
That's not true, though, because they did Terminator 2. They did a bunch of other cabinets that are pretty close. Look at Tron, pretty close to their original mold.
No, I think throughout the year we will see other cabs, different maybe newer IPs. Look, anybody who was shocked that this is all we got at CES wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry, but we've all been saying for months, this is what you were going to see. You were going to see legacy cabs.
Right. Yeah, I concur. But here's the other thing to kind of caveat onto.
Yep. Are you there?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm still here. Sorry.
No,
are you not getting? Are you getting video?
Yeah, the TriCaster just froze. Just keep going.
Okay. Well, I'm going to talk anyways. So, the biggest thing basically is that I agree with what you're saying, Bill, and I don't think it's about what they can do beyond that. But I'm saying, like, they're going to put it into a form factor. So, for example, we might have a Street Fighter 2 Pro or XL coming out, right? Ideally, they would put like Final Fight in that or something. Like, I don't think that they would go back to molding, those into their original form factor, if that makes sense. I think they'll apply it to something that, like the brand that they would have been in, like Midway, for example, or Capcom, and then they're going to go with a certain type of form factor for that. So that's kind of where I think it's at. Unless you get into like special cabs where, like Dragon's Lair and Tron, where they made special molds for that. And those were like kind of something that was like demanded from or asked for from the home arcade community at that time. So it will be interesting to see, how they pursue that and how they're going to address stuff like that moving forward. One thing I will say, though, is that without there being risers on them anymore, it doesn't give you the ability to adjust the height of the cabinets or I've honestly gotten so used to the risers and the fact that I include them now with artwork and stuff like that, that I'm just like, they don't really, I don't even care anymore because, I mean, to be honest, anyways, like most of the cabs that I have in the center of my arcade game room or whatever they're more like candy style games anyways, if that makes sense.
And we're back.
Yay.
Video's back.
We're back on.
Sorry, it just happened to freeze on me. That's the first time I ever had that happen in a while. So we should have the video back. Apologies, guys, but you still should have been able to hear the audio. These guys were carrying on. Glenn, they're all blaming you that you broke it.
Price point? Like, how do we justify the price point of $5 or what is it? $499.
$500. Yeah, that's the going assessment, because they're showing on the website that you can pay it in 4 payments of $125. So we're assuming $500.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a second.
Uh-oh.
Wait a second.
Uh-oh.
I just got a text from John D.
Uh-oh.
He says, please stop talking about Arcade 1-Up and saying that our business model is terrible, or I'm going to shut you down again. Sorry, guys. I'm not one of the Illuminati, so they're not happy with that. Glenn, it's all your fault. Glenn's frozen.
Is he still frozen?
Is he frozen? His video is frozen. Look it. We're gonna put Glenn full screen. Look.
He's very concerned about this situation right now.
You
right,
can
Glenn?
tell.
I don't know if he dropped.
He told me privately he's going to buy all the new Arcade 1-Ups.
He is. He is buying all the new Arcade 1-Ups. All right. Let's take
look. I'm
seriously,
going to be honest. I actually like the way they look. I'm like, the class of '81 is definitely on my list. I wanted the last model version. I'm going to hold off on that, and I'm going to get this one. Now, whether I buy it full retail at $500 when it comes out, I'm not going to pre-order it, or wait a while and see if it comes down. I haven't decided yet, but that one's definitely going to go.
Well, guarantee you they're going to be going for $399 at some point in the next 6 months, the future of the next 6 months. I mean, I think that they're great, though. I agree with you, Bill. Like, they really do look good. Obviously, they're going to be, the 3/4 scale, but I just think that they really nailed it as far as the aesthetic goes. And I have to give them props for that. Like, I really do, because that's something that all of us have been talking about for a long time, and it's taken a long time for them to get there. And
yeah,
I mean, they really did do a good job as far as like mimicking the aesthetic.
That's why I want to get them, but I'm not paying $500 for them. I'll pay $399. I'll pay $350.
But that aside, there's really, look, if you really love that new look and you want to trade up for it, that's great. But if you own the others and you don't really care that they've changed
just
the
keep
look of it, there's nothing else different in
Right.
these. It's the same games, it's the same features.
Correct. Well, wait a second.
There's no
we don't
compelling
know if
reason
it's the
to get
same
them
games.
again.
Star Wars.
We
Okay.
don't. Wait. We don't know if it's the same games. Nobody
Yes,
has
we do.
stated if this has one game, or like Pac-Man had 2 games. The original one did. The one I have has 2 games.
Well,
Are you
they-
talking
look,
about if they re-release the original
if they
cast or
have-
the
if
ones
they
that they've
have-
announced?
If they're going to have online, so they're going to have to be using the same software, especially if they're using, I mean, because what they've been doing is using the same software or something very similar on the same platform, so that when they run updates, they're not having to update, 20 different kinds of software when it comes to the online play.
But the cabinets that Glenn and I have, the Pac-Man. Glenn, yours only has 2, right?
Yeah, the original ones they used to
You're
only put like
muted,
3 or
Glenn.
4
Can't
on.
hear him.
You're muted,
hear you.
Glenn.
Yeah, he said that the original ones they only used to put like 3 or 4 on.
Well, the Pac-Man only has 1. Pac-Man and Pac-Man Plus, the one that I have.
Right.
And then Rampage has 4. And then Final Fight has 4.
Mhm.
Has Strider, it has Final Fight, it has Ghosts and Goblins. I forget what the other one is.
Didn't they have one of the Street Fighters on it, or was that no?
No, Street Fighter had 3 different versions of Street Fighter, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, it was Super.
That's what I want is the
Champion
Deluxe.
and Turbo, I think.
Star Wars, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If
Okay,
they can come
great.
out with Deluxe, the only way, and these machines do not sell. I don't know how I don't know how you guys are selling your machines for such, and when I say you guys, like Jayde, you, and some of the other YouTubers, they do not sell well over here. They I'd have to practically give them away. So that's a bad thing.
If you leave it up for long enough, somebody will buy it. I usually bundle mine. I'm like,
Yeah.
here, take these two for $700, and you're getting a good deal instead of $1,000, right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, you take $650, and I'm like, give it to me.
Let's cut to a new segment that we're going to try to do is What's New, while we try to get Glenn's audio back, because we want to see if we can get this working for Jayde's segment, which is going to come up right after this one.
So it's 2023. We just finished with Christmas and New Year's, and I wanted to show some of the games that I got for Christmas and that I have to find time to play. The first one here is for the Switch. It's Mario Party Superstar Sonic Frontiers. Sonic Frontiers, you got to be a fan of Sonic. If you're not, well, we need to talk, because Sonic is a great game. This game is really fun. I did get to play this. I was playing it for quite some time on the Switch. And that's the problem when you have multiple systems. It's a good problem to have, but you got to find time to play all the game. We have Saints Row. Saints Row is a game that I saw. I like those open world challenges, and I like to run around like Far Cry, and this kind of reminded me of that in Last of Us. So this is one that I had asked for, and it's for the Series X or Xbox One. PS5, Modern Warfare 2. A lot of my friends and I, we play Fortnite online, and we got away from Call of Duty because Call of Duty just was full of cheaters and just not a fun experience. So a bunch of us were asking for this for Christmas, and from our wives and in some cases boyfriends and girlfriends. And so we're going to give this a shot and play some of this online, and it should be a lot of fun. We're going to do it this weekend. This game here, God of War Ragnarok, this game I've spent the most time with. I've got probably about 3.5, 4 hours in on this game. This is probably my favorite that I've played so far for the PS5. If you're on the fence about God of War Ragnarok, I highly recommend you getting this game. My son and I, we love playing it. He has it for his PS5, it came with the download link, and so he's pretty excited. He's been playing that one. Another game that I just received, I literally just got it today because it was back ordered over Christmas, is Horizon Forbidden West. A friend of mine has this, and she loves this game. She's highly recommended it, so I had to get it with some Christmas money. So I picked this up, and I'm excited to play it. And hopefully I can do some live streams with some of these games. And but if not, I'm going to at least play them because, I mean, that's what you're supposed to do with games, right?
Happened. So we still don't have, I don't think we have Glen's audio. Glen?
Nope.
No. Wait, did he say no? Nope. We still don't have your audio. So that's what did you guys get anything interesting? I'll work on Glen's audio, but let me ask this out there. Bill, did you get any new games that you're probably not going to play for a while?
I didn't get anything per se like for Christmas. I picked up a couple of things that were on sale was it on Switch or no, it was on PS4. They had the Castlevania set of Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night, which I never had a chance to play back in the day, so I was really excited to get that. So I picked that up digitally for PS4. So I'm looking forward to see that. It's funny because I was actually thinking about this the other day. I have a backlog of so many games now, and between PlayStation Plus, Nintendo Switch Online, Epic's on PC, Epic's Games giving away games every week, Amazon Prime giving away games every month. I have so many games that I've gotten for free that I'm never going to get to that I don't know that I need to go buy anything new right now.
What about you, Jay? Did you?
Yeah, unfortunately, I upped my backlog by probably about, I don't know, a dozen games.
Yeah.
But Pokemon Scarlet, Sonic Frontiers, I got Windjammers, God of War Ragnarok. I know there's like a bunch, several others that are in there. I'm trying to think if I got anything that like wasn't new, but I think most of it was stuff that I was like catching up on. I feel like I got 2 other Switch games that I can't think of off the top of my head, but that just goes to show you how terrible my backlog is right now. I mean, oof.
All right. Well, let's take a look. We're all going to have these games that we have to play.
Oh, hey, you know what another good Castlevania is? Circle of the Moon on Game Boy Advance.
No. That's a good. Well, I have that one, but what I was going to say was
that's another one I have. I have the that Game Boy Advance collection.
Yeah.
Of those games on Switch. So that's what I'll have to get to eventually.
No, I'm talking about the actual cartridge.
No, I know what you mean.
So I did get this, but this was a limited run game that I got a year ago.
Yeah, that's
cool. That's the one I'm talking about. I just don't have it physically.
The Rondo of Blood, and
yeah,
it comes with the poster, and it comes like the one package I bought with the box. It's like the Nintendo box, and it's got the so it's a good game. It's like if you had it for Sega Saturn. But yeah,
Windjammers 2.
I got Windjammers 2. Yeah.
Yeah, you and me both got Windjammers 2, right?
Yeah, we weren't stupid. We got that.
I did get the Nintendo Switch Sports from my daughter.
I pre-ordered that when it came out.
So I'm excited to. I haven't tried it yet, but I used to love Wii Sports. Wii Sports is great. I loved Wii Sports, so I'm hoping this is at least somewhat like that.
Let's do this. Let's cut to and go to Jayde's video here so we can talk about this a little bit before we have to wrap up here, and maybe we can get Glen back. We'll see.
Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at Donkey Kong. We're going to be looking at some of the things that I've done to it to finish it off, to kind of polish it off, and I'm going to show you guys a couple things that I learned along the way. Alright, Alright, so the point of this is basically just to show you guys some of the cool things that I learned along the way, and some things that you might encounter if you ever end up picking up a Donkey Kong or Nintendo cab. New artwork is always an easy and relatively inexpensive fix. But here's some more interesting details. Nintendo used a flat T molding that was 9/16 of an inch. While this one is a centered cut, I've heard that there are ones that are actually off-center. Just something to be aware of. And while we're looking at that, if you do buy a reproduction marquee, I would recommend mikesarcade.com. But there are a few noticeable differences, like that Nintendo logo, which is not as thick as it is on the original marquee. This is one of the biggest and most important details to me. These cabinets were made to use a tinted bezel. One of the only places I know where you can get a tinted bezel on printed plexi is from this dealer on eBay. And in my opinion, it's one of the best deals you can get. Stickers, you can actually find templates all over the place. Just size them correctly, print them out, laminate them, and there you go. Boom. You don't have to pay for any of that. Another big detail is the style of buttons that this machine uses. They're not the conventional convex buttons that you see in US arcade systems. They're thicker and use a different switch system, and you just don't get the same feel unless you use them. To add a few other small details, the control panel cover is actually printed plexi, and believe it or not, those things are tanks, as well as the joysticks. All that stuff can be cleaned up, polished off, and put back together, and generally speaking, it's probably going to be just right. So the whole point of this was just to share some of the things that I learned with you guys along the way, and to show you kind of the finished product of what I have. I hope you guys got something out of this, and if you have any questions, you know where to find me. Hey, shout out to Angel at Disability, because he made that Shelion Gaming sign for me. I didn't have it lit up there, but very cool to have in the background. So, but anyways, I just wanted to like talk about that, because I think there's these really cool little tiny details about some of those older Nintendo cabs that you could completely pass over, because there's some places, for example, that will sell the bezels for those, and they aren't tinted. I think there's some people that actually didn't know that those bezels were tinted, and one of the reasons why is because it kind of masks the black cardboard that goes around the monitor or the CRT. But anyways, so just cool little things there. And then obviously the T molding, the Nintendo used like this flat T molding, and it's the 9/16 size. So a couple of like interesting details there that I thought I would share with you guys and just kind of revisit, because I never really did a follow-up video on my Donkey Kong cab restore. And I think when I finished my video, I still had the original marquee and original bezel on there. I might have done like one other thing. But I did make some adjustments to the monitor and stuff. Anyways, I love that cab. It is literally, it's the cab from the year I was born, and it's one of those cabs that's just perfect the way it is. I love it.
So Adam Calvin in the chat room says, I have the original Donkey Kong tinted bezel if you need it, he said.
Yeah, no, that's why I was showing that, so that in the video there, that vendor that I showed on eBay, they're the only people I know of who like stamp it with the tint and the border print on it, and it looks just like the stock one. Like I compared it even to the original, and I mean it's flawless. It's really beautiful, and I think that that's a really reasonable price as well, with free shipping. So
yeah, I'm still trying to get my real Donkey Kong. That's probably the only arcade that I will ever buy that's an original, is a Donkey Kong cabinet, especially if they can give it to me at $800, like he was talking.
If I ever find a versus or a because there's actually, so for the versus or the Play Choice 10s, there's a couple different models or variants, and one of them's taller and one of them's a little bit shorter, but they follow the same design aesthetic. It's just taller or shorter. And then you have like the punch out one, which has 2 screens, so it was a lot taller, and you have the 2 joysticks. And those ones are like really hard to come by. But I mean, they're just really cool cabs, and they're so unique, and they're Nintendo cabs, you know?
Right.
So.
Well, We have one more thing we have to cover from CES that's pertaining to gaming that was announced at CES.
There it is.
That is not it. That is not it. That.
Are you sure?
That is not it. This is it with the PlayStation here. I had to pull that up though because I figured it would be funny to bring that up. Sony brought out a bunch of stuff, and they were talking about the Gran Turismo movie that's coming, which actually looks pretty good if they can do it like Fast and Furious. But the PSVR and the games that they announced for it, like the Spider-Man 2, Horizon, and I think Left 4 Dead or Last of Us was one. Gran Turismo, they're going to have those as the VR. The only problem with the VR is it's $500 or it's $650 if you get one of the games with it. But what I thought was interesting that they did announce, which I can skim through this here and you guys can watch this, is the Project Leonardo, where they are paying attention. They're going to have Beat Saber too as well. This here, Project Leonardo, for the handicap, so that they can enjoy the games.
I think the word you're looking for is disabled, Stephen.
Okay, well, disabled, handicapped. You're handicapped, so leave me alone.
Yeah, exactly.
These controllers were meant for you. Okay.
Wait, don't you ever call me disabled again?
I won't call you disabled because. Okay, listen, we're all handicapped in some way. Okay.
You see these sunglasses?
Disabled. Listen, disabled means you can't move. When your car is disabled, it's going nowhere. So nobody is
disabled.
That's
it. Hashtag cancel game time.
Okay.
There you go.
So nobody can move. All right, we're going down the wrong rabbit hole here. Can we get back to what we're talking about here, please? No, they didn't announce a PS5 Slim. I thought that was cool that they were making something that that those individuals could actually use. I'll say it like that. I mean, no disrespect I have some friends that are like that. So
my only concern, and this actually goes back to the point that you made earlier in the show, is how much stuff gets shown at CES but never comes to market.
Mm-hmm.
This feels like one of those to me.
Could be.
So let me put it this way. It's not a mainstream thing. You're not going to see these selling in a Best Buy. These are going to be specialty. These are going to be something. If these actually come to market, they're probably going to be something that's a specialty order that the people who need it will have to go looking for it to get it.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great concept. I think it's a great idea. I love the fact that they're trying to reach out to people who, because of physical disabilities, would have difficulty playing with a regular controller.
You know what? Here's the thing, though. All right, they're coming out with a physical device here, and I tried to tell Sony this years ago. I'm like, if you want to appeal to if you want to be in with the disabled crowd, all right. First of all, you're going to have to develop something that doesn't require you to use your body parts, okay? And including your eyes and ears. I'm like, so what you're going to have to do is develop something that is going to allow you to harness their consciousness and basically put it into an electronic platform where they can create their own reality then, and then completely forget that they are, in fact, actually disabled. And then, that has some realistic appeal to it.
The Matrix.
Don't. What is this thing? Like what is this that they're showing me? They're like, oh, look, put your cat's food in it. I don't know what.
No, it's a cool joystick that you can set up there, just like they use the joysticks on their wheelchairs and the buttons on their wheelchairs. It's designed exactly the same way.
I'm just saying, I tried to tell them how to do it right.
You're waiting for your Sword Art Online full dive helmet, aren't you?
I'm still trying to figure out what she just said in the last 30 seconds.
She knows.
She knows exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, what are you talking about? Oh my goodness. But I think, Jayde, you did say something in pre-show. All kidding aside, or somebody did. I'm pretty sure she said the PlayStation VR 2 very expensive, like $500, $650 if you get it with the game.
It's too much. What is it with these companies and $500? What is this?
I mean, you can get a MetaQuest that's wireless. I get it, it's Facebook. Glenn would probably put it in a bag. Glenn, are you going to put a $650 VR headset in a bag?
I put my head in a bag. I spent that kind of money on one of those.
I mean, seriously, like, I think Sony, Sony missed the boat for one thing. They didn't do backwards compatibility. So all you PlayStation 4 VR nuts, forget it. Your game's not going to work on it. It's just not.
See, I missed that, and that sucks because I have.
It's not going to work.
The first PlayStation.
The other thing
VR.
that they did incorrectly, in my opinion, is that it's wired. If Meta can do it wireless and you're free roaming, I mean, you look at all these pro VR people that they have, the Cat VR.
I didn't realize that it was wired.
It is. It's wired. And
I mean, an AirLink to a PC for the Meta works
all
fine.
the other VR headsets, the pro VR headsets that people are using Cat VR with. If you don't know what Cat VR is, look it up. They're all wireless. They have to be, or you're gonna like trip on it, or you know.
I've whacked into my TV once.
You're not sitting still. You're not sitting still like we are right now, and playing VR. You're up moving like the Iron Man one. You're moving your hands up and down, and I don't know. Like I bought my PlayStation 4 VR 1. I bought it for, I think it was like $125, $130 when it was out after 2 years. I will probably get this, but I'm not buying it the first year unless it substantially drops the price down to like.
Will you pre-order it?
$200. No, pre-orders are out now. You're crazy. No. Well, I would believe Sony more than John D. So,
I believe that guy behind the Kmart.
So Rexer says he just got here. He says, "Hey, game time. Just got back from CES. It was that boring that he left." No, I'm just kidding. You probably didn't see Arcade One Up because they're locked up in a hotel room.
Well,
they're
he
not
wouldn't
going to
have
tell
seen.
you where they're at.
He wouldn't have seen him anyways because he doesn't
posters.
look at
Guards
Arcade One Up
outside.
content.
Yeah. No, his name is on posters. He's not allowed anywhere near him.
Rex, you should have crashed the hotel room. You'll have to go back and listen to our rants and raves over all this nonsense.
He's not going to because he doesn't listen to Arcade One Up content.
So I look at this stuff that came out. I'm obviously into the tech, so CES is always intriguing. But I also know it's all vaporware, so I don't pay a lot of attention to it. E3 is coming up later this year. So I think there's going to be more validity when that comes for the products and games that are announced. There's a reason that Sony has to be at CES because they're a consumer electronic. They have camcorders, they have cameras, and all this other stuff. So, so Rexer was on their VIP list to get into the room. I didn't know that. They probably rolled out the red carpet,
Rex,
got the champagne.
look out for the trap door and the chloroform, Rex. Don't go there. It's a trap.
Yeah. When you walk in the door, if you see plastic bags on the floor, walk the other way.
So
if they want to pay you in what's the South African money?
Shekels?
No.
Shekels?
No,
Shekels.
No, Lethal Weapon 2.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going.
I know, but what was the money called? They had money.
Oh God!
Come on,
Somebody
chat.
in chat will know it.
Diamonds.
Somebody will know.
Diamonds.
No.
Rupees.
There
you go.
No, not
you see any of that?
rupees.
Yeah,
rupees.
watch Rex.
Yeah, rupees.
Rupees. Not
What are you
rubies.
doing, Rex? Checking for a
roofies.
plastic bag on the floor. That's what I'm doing. Checking for a plastic bag.
I'm so glad you got the reference.
No. It would be like that scene in Zoolander. They wouldn't kill him. It would be like that scene in Zoolander. They would they'd drug him with some roofies.
Corgans.
And then he'd wake up in a room and it would have like all these big screens everywhere and he'd be like tied down sitting in a chair and it'd be like, relax, just do it. They'd be like, hey, Rexer, I'm a little kid that builds Arcade One-Ups, and you need to support us.
But now the screens will be IPS, so.
Yeah. Was it Corgans? We had a gentleman over on Twitch that said
something like that. Cougarant, something like that. Yeah,
Cougarants. That's how he spelled it. But he spelled it
It was something like that. Yeah.
South African. I am South African. Diplomatic immunity.
Yeah, I was gonna say Rexer has diplomatic immunity. He'll be fine. But guys, there wasn't really.
MG, that's it. Cougarant.
There wasn't a lot of major announcements. Just to sum this up,
Atari had an announcement too. Remember, Atari. It wasn't a CES, but Atari had an announcement with My Arcade.
Yeah, but that's not CES. So, in like a Cliff Notes. Sony brought Project Leonardo, which is Jayde doesn't like. Gran Turismo the movie, which Jayde also doesn't like. PlayStation 5, it passes 30 million units sold, and from here on out, if you wanted a PS5, you should be able to get one because they said there's no more constraints on it. Everybody should own one because, well, they milked you for 2 years now, and they held back as much of. They pulled an arcade one up. They held all the stock back, and they just trickled it out to create demand for 2 years. So you'll now be able to get it.
Milked us.
Gran Turismo 7 is getting PSVR support, and Beat Saber is coming to PSVR. That is your CES announcements in a nutshell. Sorry to disappoint all you, but there's 4 days of this going on, and really
Beat
nothing
Saber's
else.
really fun.
Yeah,
it's a really
yeah.
fun
No,
game.
at this point, all the big announcements have been made. Now it's just
they're
for
done.
the people. Now it's just for the people that are there wandering the show floor, talking to everybody.
We might as well just go for 20 more minutes, Steven. Like, let's just do it.
Go for 20 more minutes.
Yeah.
I think Glenn will fall over because he's got to get up really
I will
early for
definitely
work.
fall over.
He's
Don't lock
not
your
going to
knees
make
out,
it.
Glenn.
That's
Don't
why
lock
he
your
does
knees
the old
out,
guys
bend your
show
knees.
tomorrow. That's see, he just fell down. Look. What do you guys think in the
Glenn,
chat
do you
room?
have your life alert?
He did. He pressed
Yeah, right
it.
here,
It's
yeah.
on my
Right there,
phone.
right there.
What was the thing before Life Alert when they'd be like, I've fallen and I
That's
can't
what it
get
is.
up?
No,
Life
that was
alert.
it. That was
That is
life
life
alert.
alert. That's it.
Wait, that was Life Alert? I thought
Yeah.
there was something else before that.
Oh, look at we've got
I've fallen,
comedians.
and I can't get up.
We've got comedians in the chat room. Jamie over here, he's like, "Isn't Amico at CES? Sure, it's coming out any day now."
It was a Coleco Chameleon.
Oh, that's what it is.
Mm.
Only 1 million sold. That's a true story. Someone check the toy shop. No. Well, P-Dubs isn't there, so I'm sure there's nobody covering Toy Shock. The clapper, yeah, clap on, clap off. I don't know. I don't get hyped up over these announcements because everything Arcade One Up announced today, we might not see it till
Remember also last
next year.
I mean, they did show the mini Atari with the TV, which did come out, but not through Arcade One Up. But they had the mini Intellivision, mini Coleco, the Coleco tabletop, all the stuff was shown in that booth. None of them came out from them. Nothing.
Well, what about
Yeah.
online play for Marvel vs. Capcom 2?
Still waiting.
And fixing the bugs in NFL Blitz.
It's inevitable.
Yeah,
It is
sure
inevitable.
It is. So
Yeah.
as much
Like
as they're
Thanos.
coming, so are these cabinets. They have working prototypes.
Well,
You know
hey,
it.
their
Oh,
press.
go ahead.
I'm just saying that their press release did say that they were expecting most of these to be out springtime, with that Casino Cade being late spring, early summer. So
Okay,
we'll see.
So
But that's what they're saying right
yeah.
now.
So this gentleman here, Dash Render, says no KI Pro out. Yes, actually, it is out. Jayde has it in her house right now. It's set up, and I'm being completely serious.
Yeah, and you
Most
can
of the
watch
people who
my,
ordered it have
you can
it
watch
now.
my you can watch my review on it.
She did a painstakingly long 4-hour, putting
It
it
was actually
together.
only 2
assembly.
hours. It
Video.
felt 4 hours to you. That's all.
Well, she had
Build
to answer
video
stupid
and then
questions
review.
as she was building it. Ralph kept interrupting her every time she would almost have it together. He'd have to
No,
say something.
I had to keep saying actuator so he would keep drinking.
Actuator.
Yeah.
Or somebody would want you to tear something apart while you were putting it together, and you're like, "Well, I guess I can do it." I'm like, "No, put the dang thing together so I can see you play it. Come on." Well, we can open this up and see what's this joystick catching on. Oh, the mold is bad, and I'm like, it took you 45 minutes to open this stupid thing because Jim Bob in there wanted you to do it.
I want to say one thing though about the Arcade One Up thing. So here's the thing, like we all know, like obviously Arcade One Up's going to be selling the stuff direct, right? And nobody is going to want to pay to, that full price to buy direct from them. And then they're going to be shelling it out to their vendors and whatnot. So we can all expect to see that stuff at Walmart for sure. And, I don't know where else, but definitely Walmart and maybe Best Buy and Target and Home Depot, God only knows. But the bottom line is that we know for sure that those items, especially anything legacy, is going to go on sale at some point And there is absolutely no, and you're going to get free shipping through Walmart or Best Buy. And there's absolutely no reason why anybody should be paying $500 for it when it's literally going to be like $400 within, 3 to 6 months after
Or
it gets released on sale.
$187. You never know.
Yes.
187.
Can I throw this out
You
there?
know what? That was the biggest fumble. But
I want to throw this out there really quick for those that are buying these Legends Ultimates. Sam's Club actually they caught on to everybody price matching and sharing the photo around, because when I went on there to do it, the price match it to I think it was at 187. They have escalated it to the management, and I'll hear in 3 to 5 days if they're going to price match it. So I'll end up getting it for $200. But keep that in mind. If you're buying this with the intention of doing the price matching, you may not get that price match from other areas that have that, as long with the ALP. But what I want to ask you guys before we wrap this up, and even the chat room here, just like they did with Killer Instinct Pro, and I said this before, which is why I really didn't want to pre-order. I believe there's at least 200 or more units of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 that were held back that are going to mysteriously and magically appear in the Arcade 1-Up store after CES that everybody's going to be able to pre-order. Agree or disagree?
I think that you could I think that that's a very feasible. It's a realistic theory that you have. I mean, I think part of the problem is with those two caps specifically is, on one hand, you have the limited release of KI Pro, and the numbered limited release of KI Pro, so people didn't have much of an option there. Like, you were only going to get it through Arcade 1-Up, and it was a numbered limited release, right? And then on the other hand, you have Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which was apparently in high demand because it sold out very quickly everywhere. I think the only place you can get it from is RC Willie's, RC Wiley's, RC Willie's, right? And you have to be in the right area for them to ship it to you. So you can't just order it from anywhere in the country and then get it to your house. But my whole point is just that, like, these are two cabs that were being sniped, that were, sought after. And I think that every other cab that they've done this year was in no way, shape, or form at that level, and those cabs were ones that people were willing to assume the risk on more than any others, because it's highly unlikely that you're going to have another chance to get those ones. And so the other cabs, though, all the normies like Blitz and all that stuff, they're sports cabs, they're legacy cabs. You're never going to have an issue finding those things, and they're going to go on sale 100% of the time. But I think that when we're talking about stuff that they're releasing, really look at it from an analytical and like market point of view and how they're talking about it, because in my opinion, they alluded to KI and Marvel vs. Capcom legitimately being something that was sought after. And now you don't have to believe them, but then go look at people out there who have real opinions and have been analytical about this and are in a fan base that knows about it. And they're probably going to be like, it's a risk. That is 100% a risk that you have to be willing to take. Either risk not getting it or risk getting it with issues, So.
And Zero Hero makes a good point. Don't we remember Burger Time or the limited edition Marvel Superheroes? There will be more cabinets made. Come on, guys. Burger Time, they held a few back. They did allow people to buy like a quick sale of them. I thought it was astronomical, the price that they're asking for it, but neither here nor there.
Marvel Superheroes. This is like, I'm genuinely
No.
curious.
We're gonna wrap this up. This is going on. We got to wrap this up. It's going too long here. This is just
wait. It's really quick. Was that a numbered release as well? I thought it was.
I don't think so.
Yes, the original Marvel
was
everybody got a certificate of authenticity. I think P-Dubs
the one that came with the Sanwa controls, right?
Yes, it was. There was two versions. There was the Walmart
Right.
version without the riser, one with a riser, and then the limited edition where you had like, I don't know.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's like 5,000.
But they only did a limited run of that one type.
The
is
one-
what I'm
yes,
saying.
the
They
one with
never came.
The slightly better controls. Yes, you're right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That, and it had different T molding, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was the only major differences it was. And people still can't sell those things. I've seen them; they go for about the same price as regular cabinets. So limited edition or not, Glen's got a
it doesn't
limited
mean
edition.
anything with these. These are not collectibles. You're not buying these for an investment.
No, not at all. You'll be lucky if they last you 5 years.
Right. That's why you want a GRS Build-A-Cade. That's an investment.
There you go.
There it is.
Oh, we got to wrap it up here. It's getting close to the 11 o'clock hour here on the East Coast. I know Jayde's over on
Almost
the
time for me
West
to get up
Coast.
for work.
I know.
Hey, you know
Me
what?
too.
Don't get any sleep. Be a man.
Well, that's just it.
I don't want to be a man.
I have to use my
Have you
doodle
seen
more.
that? Have you seen that guy? He's hilarious.
If you guys haven't checked her out, go to Shelion's YouTube channel. Watch the latest videos she put up, especially the documentary she just put out on her trip down memory lane with arcades with a few special guests.
Only the first episode. Only the first episode.
But you started in 1979. The gaming industry was half over in 79.
I know.
We got.
She's a young buck.
I know.
Hey, you know what? Not all of us had pet dinosaurs named Dino. Okay, Glenn.
Oh. Snap.
Okay, but that's the first episode. I think it's going to be about a 6-episode run, and then also next week I do my pre-recorded podcast, and I think it should be released Thursday, but either next Thursday or the following Tuesday, there's going to be another pre-recorded podcast with a very special guest on. So be looking for that.
Are you recycling content creators again?
Yep.
She's recycling content creators again. Who's it this time? P-Dubs?
I can't say anything.
Is it Glenn? Because gosh, I don't know his story.
Got to tune in to find out.
Oh, it's Bill. That's what it is. It's Bill. Oh, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, the Wild Man, Wild Bill. YouTube.com/Bill's.
So let me just, as we're wrapping up, let me just say this real quick. I just want to say a huge thank you to.
Oh, you're welcome, Bill. Bill, you're okay, man. Look, I don't mind.
All right.
It's okay.
I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who has subscribed recently. I'm knocking on the door of 1,000. I'm at like 960
well, answer
right
the
now.
door.
Go
What are you
subscribe
waiting
to Bill.
for?
If you're
For
not
those of you-
subscribed, go
For
subscribe
those of
right
you
now.
who don't know, I am giving this away when I hit 1,000. This is going to, a lucky subscriber. All the information is in my Comic-Con video, so check that out. And at this point, it could be any day now when I hit that. So thank you all so much.
Knock, knock, knocking on 1,000 subs. Hey, 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 hey. Bill's knocking on 1,000 subs.
Keep going, Glenn.
You can hear him.
Man, I'm like 10 minutes from waking up to get to work.
You can hear him every week. YouTube.com/Glenn's Retro Show on YouTube. G Planamento. Tomorrow is the old guy show on tomorrow.
Kicking old schools on tomorrow, and I got to try this out. I got my Joe Sabo acrylic GRS Tron 1984.
How much was that? $100?
See, he's
I think it was
flaunting
40.
that.
40.
40.
40.
He's flaunting that because he knows I'm getting mine tomorrow and I don't have it.
$40. You're
Well, these are
insane.
acrylic. These aren't decals. These are acrylic.
It's still $40 for a tiny machine, man.
Hey, GRS is totally worth it.
Well, GRS is worth it, but I don't know about the acrylic, man. But hey,
Hey, hey, hey. Bill's working on 1,000 subs.
Well, guys, I appreciate you sticking around, even though we had a little bit of the technical difficulties. Not sure why it did that, but hey, even machines have their
He's running iOS.
issues. No, it's actually Windows. That's why. So we'll see you guys next week. Starting the new year off right, and we'll have a good time. See ya.
Game time.